Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Replay Mega Man X. In the last part, we took care of most of the Mavericks, actually, but now we need to head back to Spark Madrill stage. Because there's still one item here we couldn't get until we got Boomer Kawanger's weapon. Theoretically, you also need it to get the hard tank, but as you saw last part, you can get it without it just fine. What we need here is the last of the 4 sub-tanks. When you get it, equip Boomer Kawanger, jump, and when you're falling, fire the boomerang cutter so that it can pick it up. With that said and done, we now only have 2 stages left before we actually start accessing the final endgame stuff. And it's both our last Maverick stage and our final revisit, because we do need to revisit one stage in order to get one thing. By the way, time for Sting Chameleon, whose stage is probably my favorite looking in the game. I love the way the jungle here looks, and a nice little detail. When X warps in, he goes through that tree in the center there and actually causes some leaves to fall. That's a nice little attention to detail. Now, this stage is the only other one that has a change to it depending on what stage you beat before it. If you beat Launch Octopus' stage before this stage like we did, there's now water in some of the lower sections, particularly this. This little cave down here is where the hard tank for the stage is, but you need to have beaten Launch Octopus to get it because of the water physics. I think with the stage changing gimmick, this is the only one you absolutely need in order to get an item. And now we want to head up here because the other item for the stage is up here as well. But to get it, we have to fight the hardiest boss in the game, RT55J, who's weak to the boomerang cutter, but don't use all of it. Use it most, probably just under half of it, because you need boomerang cutter for Sting Chameleon himself, obviously. This guy, aside from I think having the most health of anything in the game, aside from maybe the final boss, isn't a very dangerous mechanoid. He jumps around a lot, uses his little claws to either grab you and pull him towards you, or if you say you jump over it and it touches a wall, to drag himself towards the wall. You can gauge his health by how much smoke he's emitting. The more quickly they get emitted, the less health he has. Notable though, this guy resembles Otto from the classic series quite a bit, and that is actually support that he is a later robot from that line, because his name, RT55J, the RT in that are the first and last letters of Otto's Japanese name, Raitot. Which, you know, cool little detail. I mean, it would make sense considering the fact that he is guarding the last Dr. Light Capsule. This capsule contains a new type of body armor. It will reduce the damage to your systems by 50%. Cool. It's probably the most blunt of all of the body armors you get in the X series, honestly, because a lot of the other ones reduce damage as well, but they also give you some sort of other effect, such as building up a Giga attack. I think one of them prevents you from taking certain damage from certain hazards, but off the top of my head, this is the only one that just does the damage reduction. Which, mind you, if the intro of the game is anything to say, X's skin basically already reduces damage by 93%, so this just reduces damage up to 96.5, which kind of takes the wonder out of it, doesn't it? Huh. Either way, with that, though, we technically now have 100% in the game aside from the bonus item and, obviously, beating Sting Chameleon. They also give you a ride armor for this last section here, and I can't exactly tell why, because it kind of just negates the entirety of the gimmick of this little sinking mud here. I don't remember if this mud is here if you've beaten Launch Octopus, though. It's been a while since I did this stage before Launch Octopus. But we're coming up on the boss, and Sting Chameleon himself can be a bit of a tricky Maverick without his weakness. He likes to hide on the back wall and cloak himself a lot, from which he'll do one of 2 things. Either cling onto the ceiling and cause spikes to fall down from it, or he'll either whip his tongue at you or use his tail to shoot out a bit of a spread shot of 3 green bullets. With his weakness, though, he's pathetic, because you go left, and then you go right. Then you go left, then you go right, then you go left, then you go right again, then you go left, and you go right, and then you murder him? Murder him. That was an interesting way to say that. Sting Chameleon, with his weakness, nothing to fear at all. Without it, he's a potential threat. And for beating him, we get possibly my least favorite weapon in the game to use outside of its charge shot, but it has easily the most creative name out of all of them. Sting Chameleon gives us the Chameleon Sting. God, that's lazy. The Chameleon Sting, though, is basically the spread shot I was talking about that he could use against you. When you charge it up, though, it makes you completely vulnerable to all damage. Well, I actually don't to anything in general, because you just don't get touched either. Finally, we found Sigma's fortress. Let's go in and put an end to his war against the humans. And as Zero just outright stated, we can now access the final stages of the game, the castle of the game, essentially, to use the classic term. However, we have a bonus item to go get, so let's go into Armadillo stage and do two things. First off, this very different looking Bat Bond at the start of the stage, which is a reference to the classic games, we wanted to kill it over and over again because it has a very high chance of dropping extra lives. Intentionally so. I want to say it's either 4 out of 5 or 9 out of 10 times it'll drop an extra life, which is extraordinarily good. Max lives you can get in the game is 9, and we need approximately 4 to get the bonus item. Why? You might remember that energy pellet at the very end of the stage after this little minecart section here. We want to grab that, and then kill ourselves. Why? Well, you'll see in a moment, but we don't have to do it just one time. We have to kill ourselves a grand total of 4 times, and that requires doing the last sequence, including killing the second little mole tank 4 times. I'm cutting out most of them, and I'm just showing you basically the endings of 2 of them right there, and then cutting to the last attempt, because this took about 4 minutes to do, and I don't feel like making you sit through all that, but on the 4th try, there is a capsule here. I give you a special present. Now, enter the capsule, please. I kind of already have a full armor set, so I don't know what I'm gonna get, but okay. Did he just say Hadouken? Well, yes, you do. You get the Hadouken from the Street Fighter series, and you would use it the exact same way. Quarter circle in the direction you're facing, and then the attack button. The Hadouken is not to be trifled with. It is an instant kill on anything that touches it, including 95% of the bosses in the game. But with that, let's enter the Sigma stages. And I love Sigma 1's theme so much. Let's split up. I'll go in first, and then you can slip in while I keep the main defense force busy. Alright, thanks, Zero. But yeah, let's show up the Hadouken. While that hitbox is obnoxiously large, it did not touch that turtle at all. The Hadouken, though, it is the game-breaking ability. It can one-shot basically any boss fight in the game. But unlike my original playthrough, I'm not really going to be using it. I'm going to try and actually do the main weakness buster strats from here on, because I just feel like being a bit different from the original LP. Now, this climb from the platforms here is possibly the most annoying platforming section in the game. Not only because the timing's a bit odd, but these platforms, I swear to God, can eat your dash inputs. And I'm not just talking like the A button dash. You can also activate the dash by double tapping in a direction. And these platforms eat them up like nothing else if you're going in the direction you are. Hence, what's about to happen to me in 3, 2, 1. I dash jumped there, but it didn't pick it up. I hate that climb. There's another way you can go about it. You can climb that entire rock wall beneath it if you're good with wall jumping, but I've never been able to do. Well, no, I've done that once, but I've never been consistent with it. Is the better way to put it. I don't like doing that. I hate that little platform there at the start. It's the one real big blemish on the Sigma stages. Stay back, X. I'll take him on. All right, have fun with that. Now, there's a way you can actually completely stay still in this room, move in this room, but I've never been able to do it. That didn't sound good. Zero, you okay, buddy? Oh no. X, do what I tell you, or he's history. Don't listen to him, X. Go ahead and blast him. Dream on, Zero. X knows he can't defeat me. My armored carrier's more than a match for his ancient weapons. Boy, I am the ancestor to all Reploids. You will respect me like the robot master I technically am. Like with the fight at the very start of the game, though, Vile is entirely invincible. You can Hadouken him, do all sorts of weapons against him. It'll do nothing. This is another case of, forced loss. You just need to take enough damage, roughly, I think, within the last 5% of your health, and he'll do that old yellow bolt again and freeze you. Was that necessary? Maybe. But I'm not through yet. What a worthless gesture. I can't be defeated so easily. So, X, it's just you and me now. Huzzah! What the? Where did that energy come from? It really doesn't matter how much energy you absorb, X. You're still far too weak. Prepare to be terminated. Now, my original LP, I Hadoukened him if I recall. But this time we're going his weakness, Electric Spark. Vile is actually a very fun boss fight. He dashes a lot and loves to just do some jumpy stuff where he fires all sorts of mines. He likes to use his cannon to fire out that old freezing projectile, which leaves you open to his attack. And it is worth noting, if you're trying to do a no damage run for some reason, the little mines he fires out split out little fireballs upon entry on the ground. He doesn't do too much, but he's actually a very fun fight. Overall, though, with our current might, he is weak. Alright, Vile, see you in some of the sequels. X, I've taken too much damage. Auto repair systems can't handle it. My power's fading fast. Your power is greater than I thought. Maybe you can destroy Sigma. Alright, that's 0 death number 1. Count those because they're pretty common. If you didn't get the buster parts in Flame Mammoth stage, though, 0 would give you his own buster here. And it's more or less the exact same here next one. I think the power just charges up to red instead of pink. But in the remake, the buster acts entirely differently. Because I think instead of firing out the pink weird double helix effect that we get, I think it fires out basically a giant red burst. Which, I might be full of shit on that. I might be thinking of something else. I might be thinking of Proto Man from Powered Up, now that I think about it, actually. But still, it's worth noting you can get it here as well. And honestly, narratively, I actually prefer that because it's like the final thing we needed to power ourselves up was our friend's love. Also, time for the boss rush to start, so be prepared. I love that song. But X1's boss rush takes more of the Mega Man 1, Mega Man and Bass kind of feel to it, where it's more so a sequential boss rush instead of the giant room of capsules. You're going to be fighting Boomer Quanger here in Sigma 1. Sigma 2, you're fighting 2 more Mavericks, and then Sigma 3, you're going to be fighting the rest of them. Which, I like that system and also don't at the same time because it loses out on some of the fight them as you wish kind of thing, but at the same time, it's so easy, I don't really give a shit. Either way, boss of this stage is weak against the shotgun ice, so get that out. Meet Bosspider. I don't like Bosspider. I always Hadouken him because his normal pattern is annoying. You might remember that one minigame that's been in a lot of the Mario Party games where you just have to follow the pathway and go over any interruptions you find. It's just that. The less health he has, the faster he gets in both his movements and firing out his little spider buddies. So getting him hit with his weakness gets harder and harder the farther you go in. I am not a fan of this boss fight at all. I openly Hadouken him most playthroughs just because I really don't like this boss. It doesn't help that his hitbox is actually really big, because his feet count as part of the hitbox as opposed to, like, I think Web Spider in X4's arms didn't count for part of his hitbox. Mind you, I haven't played X4 in a while, so I can't quite remember. Best advice I can give you on this fight, be quick on your toes and try and analyze the green pathways as best you can before he moves, so you can try and avoid as much damage as you can. Honestly, this fight wouldn't be too bad if it weren't for the little spider buddies he shoots out, because then you can focus more on him. But that is also the purpose of the spider buddies, so that it could be a more complex fight, so... Also, I should mention, in between parts, I'm going to be grinding sub-tanks up at the very start of Armored Armadillo stage, basically right before the one bat bond that gives you a lot of extra lives. Because I like to have full sub-tanks for Sigma 3 onwards. But yeah, I don't like Bosspider. He doesn't even get a full explosion effect. He gets a different explosion effect, so I guess that just shows how much love he gets. Sigma 1, though, emotional trauma for X aside. Annoying beginning, but otherwise fairly standard stage. I would recommend during one of the vertical sections charging up Sting Chameleon's weapon, though, just to avoid as many enemies as you could. And you see me actually hesitating for a second there. That's because I was deciding whether or not I should do Sigma 2 in this recording or the next one. I love this background, the backdrop at the start of Sigma 2, by the way. I love those mountains in the background. Sigma 2 is a much less crowded stage than Sigma 1, but at the same time, it actually has a few more annoyances of its own, because there's quite a few more bottomless pits, and plus, the boss rush continues here, only this time we're fighting 2 bosses instead of 1. Ooh, progression! Admittedly, one of my bigger issues with the whole split boss rush, at least in X1's case, with the way I had to record the game, or the way I recorded the game, rather, due to the way the stages worked out for me, is that it's kind of weird that it gets split between 2 videos, because Megaman and Base's boss rush was sequential, but it was all in the final stage. Mega Man 1 is so short that you can do it all in one video anyway, whereas here, not so lucky. I do have to wonder, though, if and hopefully when they bring back Mega Man, I'm looking at you, 30th anniversary, maybe we'll see something, and, well, by the time this gets uploaded, I'll already probably know the depression of nothing happening. But if they do bring back Mega Man again, would they bring it back for an entry that uses the sequential or the capsule? More than likely the capsules, but, Notable, you might notice that during that fight with Storm Eagle, I didn't use Chameleon Sting on him, even though it's his weakness. That's because it's 2 reasons, actually. 1, I find Chameleon Sting almost completely useless against him. And 2, Chameleon Sting's the weakness of the main boss for the stage, so I don't feel like wasting any of it on him. Dash Shot is more than enough for him. With that said, Chameleon Sting is the weakness, so get it out. And time for possibly the weirdest boss in the game. Rangda Bangda. Rangda Bangda is comprised of 2 eyes and a nose that all attack you. Each little eye color does something different. Blue moves towards you, green fires a projectile. After every eye does, no, actually I think it's after just 3 eye actions in general, the nose will just bounce around similarly to Armored Armadillo. And notable, if you destroy the nose before either of the eyes, the walls stay closed in. Okay, that's what the 3rd color does. Red does both a move and 2 projectiles at the same time. More often than not, you will always end with the nose, though. With Chameleon Sting, not a very bad boss. Without Chameleon Sting, also not a very bad boss. In fact, honestly, Rangda Bangda is kind of disappointingly easy. Sigma Stage 2, nothing too bad. Escalation, sure, but there's no annoying platforming like in Sigma 1 with those damn green platforms. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 4, we'll be heading into the last 2 stages of the game, and taking the fight to Sigma for the first time, very much not so for the last time. See you guys then.